From this side, nothing stands out, except maybe a bent knee. The bottom looks like a shield, but that's just my impression. This also looks like a person bent over a woman. See the breast, as I can't make out much of that. We'll come to these places just to talk to each other. Guess that's fine. I don't know what this big rock is, unless the artist is just glorying in the curves created by his sculpture with the lines of the native rock. We're up here on top of all these steep slopes. I expect to find a castle. Stone just displaying graphics. Pretty woman at the face, with her hair perhaps blowing back. Huh. Women and precise graphics. What would that impression is? A horse's head. I think that's accurate. Is it dramatizing the ride? A groove where the rider's legs have pressed in against. Ah, two horses entwined. Interesting. That must be the mane that sweeps down in a curve in the center. I was so preoccupied with the statue, I did what I did with Nefertiti's statue in the Berlin Museum of Egypt. Walked right by it. There's the castle we're looking for. Kind of a heroic sculpture with this man holding up the rock above, perhaps to symbolize protecting those women. It's a male version, of course. Huge face, giving us the professorial hand over the mouth look. Apparently a picture of how it might have been in the really old days. Stub of earlier towers, there being the ultimate remaining tower. And here another one we're walking past, all rebuilt. This is apparently a portrayal of where the ancient drawbridge was in the 14th century. These stub walls or buttresses were built to support where the moat gate was, although I don't know how you have a moat up on top of here, so I don't know what they mean. Probably it means a large ditch. Here's some earlier wall works, whether these were like outer walls to create an even greater burden on those climbing up. Here, that where we're standing is the earlier walls of the initial castle building. You can see where that's located in the red box. Standing in the middle of the original wall, just for historical clarity. These rocks, these stones were the original wall. Again represent either buttresses and or the original wall. I don't know what those square holes are for. Air? Firing ports? You wouldn't think firing ports. They aren't designed very well for that. Ones that look like they could be are poorly designed. Down the road you can see what a bear of a climb it would be. Maybe that's some original castle wall. All of this I'm sure is reconstruction except for maybe that portion there, but even then it's probably a later castle. Apparently this area up here in the 15th century was in the original day heated by a hot air stove. Small semi-round tower. You can see where we're at now. We've moved all along here on this archaeological trail, they called it, in honor of the archaeologist who did most of the significant work here. And you can see when they rebuilt this that there's a gap between the portion on the left and the wall on the right. I wonder if that was original and or intentional now. Interesting is the current castle is built out to around 30 feet of this edge. Was there another wall here? I would think there would be one right on the very edge. It's gone now, but who knows? Certainly here you can see where we are at the top of this complex from where we started in the lower right. It used to be an access somewhere here down to the river. I don't know where that is. Don't see any evidence of it. We're now wrapping around to the other side of the castle. They've laid the blocks on that, both of those, so as to have the mass directed back and down. Not seen that idea before. Imagine in the day this was left as a staging ground for attacking troops. We'll go inside the castle when we're through with our jaunt about. They had to put in an archway to kind of control the movement of their buttress, and yet it appears it still did. We're here working our way around, and that's a dry toilet. So it was a two-story toilet. Above the arches was the second story that apparently was the active one, and then underneath was this lower part supported by the arches, perhaps excrement just accumulated there. Apparently right there, either in fact or in history only, it was possible to break out a couple of rows of brick that were designed for that and escape from here, get through the curtain wall or the wall that was on the edge here, and make your way down to the glen in times of really dire danger. And that means when they're about ready to break through the keep. In other words, all is lost. Which I'm calling bastions, the archaeologists call counter forts. I wonder if any of the attackers ever considered the idea in a siege of somehow removing or destabilizing those counter forts and thus weakening the wall. The corner was the chapel of the castle. Who knows what was here? But a substantial wall there. A substantial wall here. You can imagine that what's left is only a part of all the infrastructure required for people to live here safely and to endure a siege. We are back at the beginning again at the north gate with the watchtowers, outer moat, and place of bridge. So apparently the bridge was right here somewhere. Because they probably gouged out a moat, for lack of a better term, right there. I'm just guessing. Having done the archaeologist's detour to the right, we'll go into the complex proper. In the early 15th century, i.e. early 1400s, as a cannon tower. I don't think that's true. This is the main tower, watchtower. Quick 360. We entered from that direction, and I'll just do a pan around clockwise. So it looks like it would have been a very substantial complex. Be interesting to dig into the history if I have time someday and find out what kind of action it encountered.